Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots, and I'm here as always with the Andrew D. Bro.
What's
And
going on, Oos?
what's going on, Oos? And we're talking about World War IV, or otherwise known as World War III 96. And
1990.
yeah, and man, they didn't learn a goddamn thing from 95, did they? They didn't learn a fucking thing. In fact, we get to like the end of that match and something happens, which we'll get into with, and it's like, oh, they haven't learned their lesson for 10 years because they've been ignoring that the crowd wants Lex Luger as the top guy for 10 years now at this point there's another moment, and we've gone over this again and again, where the crowd is foaming at the mouth for Lex Luger to win, and they just completely shit on it. And it's like, you don't learn from Lex thing. You don't learn that the World War III Battle Royal was poorly produced, horribly shot. And then you wonder, ultimately, why, Eric Bischoff likes to go like, oh, it's because they got dirty. No, no, no. No, that's not it. It's because Vince McMahon learned from his mistakes, and you don't. And none of you do.
Yes,
Jim Crockett to Ric Flair to Eric Bischoff to Vince Russo. Nobody learned from their mistakes in this fucking company.
but you know one thing I will say this, and this is a misfire. World War III is in 1996. It's a misfire from WCW, but they're lucky too that they just made like one bad pay per view in a fucking series of good pay per views. But you're right. I don't think they proved they did not learn shit from the First
No,
World War.
I think it's shot worse this year than the year before.
Yeah, no, we'll get into it. It's not good, and I'm just gonna say off right at the top of my head for these November pay-per-views. We'll get into. Well, let's. WWEF is better in
Oh,
this one.
Clears
Yeah,
this comeback.
clear as day. Yeah. So
What a
World War
comeback.
Three. Yeah, World War Three, 1996. 60 men, 3 rings, one battle royal, total destruction, taking place November 24th, 1996, a few days before Thanksgiving in Norfolk, Virginia. Maybe that is Thanksgiving. I have no idea.
It's the Sunday after Thanksgiving then.
Okay, 10,000 people, 10,314 people are in attendance. 200,000 pay-per-view buys for this dog shit pay-per-view. Do you how much more do you think 1993's World War III had in pay-per-view buys than the previous one from 1995?
You mean 95? You said 93, 96 to 95,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, 96, 95. Yeah. How many pay-per-view buys do you think the World War III from 1995 had?
How many?
It had 90,000. So this is a huge jump, dude. This is like more than double. They went from 90,000 pay-per-view buys to 200,000 pay-per-view buys. That's huge.
I think you can't. I think besides the NWO, you can't discount the fact, because Starcade did Monster Business 2 in next month. People were excited for Piper Hogan, and they told people you're going to see a contract signed with Piper Hogan, and you can hear in the crowd people are into this match. So you can't. So I think it's a case of the NWO and people excited for Piper Hogan.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. In comparison, the WWF, they would have Survivor Series on November 17th, like a week before this World War III pay-per-view. They had 18,000 people in attendance, 160,000 pay-per-view buys. So WCW is did about 40,000 pay-per-view buys more than WWF in November of 1996. On commentary, we're going to have the usual guys: Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Let's get into our first match. It is for the J Crown Championship. We got Rey Mysterio in the Spider-Man gear. You notice that this is the Spider-Man gear, right? He wore.
Yeah, I like to hear.
And a very pink Ultimo Dragon, who is billed as Ultimate Dragon, with Ray Goots' favorite manager, Sonny Ono. Um, Ultimo
You know what? I
Dragon.
want to do an experiment. I want to do an experiment. I want to, because I'm like, Ultimo Dragon is such a good wrestler, but he's saddled with perhaps the worst manager in the history of humanity, and it actually brings the match. It brings my enjoyment of the match down. That's how bad Sonny Ono is. I want to do an experiment. If we have Brendan Sagalow comes to the ring with Will Ospreay Will that affect his match ratings?
Dude, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Rob Van Dam coming out with Bill Alfonso. I used to hate Bill Alfonso. He was so fucking hokey and shitty, and I didn't know why he was saddled with Bill Alfonso. But
Dude, can I tell you a
there's a
story?
lot of good wrestlers who were fucking saddled with shitty fucking managers, dude.
Can I tell you a story? This happened a few months ago. So like I fell asleep to ECW on Peacock, I believe, right? And I
Yeah.
think I fell asleep to like a pay-per-view from like 97, 98. Anyway, it gets to 99. And in 99, Rob Van Dam, I think, because it goes ahead of you. Rob Van Dam faces Jerry Lynn, and I'm dead asleep. And suddenly I hear this and I start getting a headache in my sleep. And I wake up and it's Bill Alfonso. And I'm like, wait a second. This fucking guy is whistling that whistle every 3 seconds. And I'm like, why did anyone think this was a good idea? Like I literally woke up with a headache because of this fucking whistling. And it's just like, who dude, I got a lot to say about ECW. I'm getting geared up. I'm excited for 97, brother, because we got to go through
But
that.
you
But
know
yeah,
what the thing is, throughout the history of wrestling, there's so many like good wrestlers who are saddled with shitty managers. We're talking Jimmy Hart, Sir Oliver Humperdinck, like the list goes on of like
I think
why do you have this fucking shit bag with you? You know?
I think it's hard. It's hard. Well, even fucking John, I'll just say it. Jim Cornette's not even that great. He's not as good as he thinks he is. I think it's hard to be a good manager. I think it is because either you do two things. You just are useless. You stand there and you do nothing, or you do too much. I think the only person who ever got the perfect blend of it, and maybe I'll correct myself as we get along, but I think Bobby Heenan was very good at knowing when to just stand there and knowing when to do something. Not a lot of people have that.
Do you count valets in the same category?
I would, yeah, because I was about to say I think Sonny and Miss Elizabeth are pretty good.
Miss Elizabeth, Sherry was pretty good.
Well, now she's a little bit useless in WCW, but yeah, she was with Savage and DiBiase and Shawn Michaels. She was excellent.
Yeah. Paul Bear is pretty good.
Paul Bear is very underrated. I used to think he's not good, even as a heel. He knows when to jump in. He knows. It's almost like you have to have a sixth sense, like when to do something, and he knows when to do it. And yes, he's very good. He's very underrated.
Yeah. All
Um,
right. So, but
all right.
you know who's not on that list is Sonny Ono. Sonny Ono is but even though Ultimo Dragon has this sack of shit Sonny Ono with him, he does also have 8 belts. They come out with holding 8 belts. Now, this is
He's
the
like Sasha
famous
Banks.
yeah, this is the famous picture of Ultimo Dragon. For those of you guys who don't know, the little background. There is this thing. New Japan created this thing called the J Crown. It was a tournament, and basically the participants in this tournament, there was like 8 championship belts on the line. These are all junior or cruiserweight championship belts. These are belts come from Mexico. One I think came from the United Kingdom, and a whole bunch came from Japan, including the WWF light heavyweight championship belt. Okay.
Which has a
So
very strange lineage.
yeah, very strange lineage. And Ultimo Dragon, basically, he won the belts in this tournament, and he won the J Crown. So technically, he is like J Crown itself is considered a title. So they has like 9 championships at this time, or something like that. Okay, he's gonna have the record too. He's gonna have 10 titles at the end of this run in total. I don't think anyone that supposedly is a record in pro wrestling, him being 10 champions at holding 10 championships at one time. I don't think anyone else has broken that record as of
I
yet.
think Sasha's coming up on it. She
Who?
seems to be Sasha Banks.
How many belts does she have?
She has like 4 or something right now.
Really?
Yeah.
What fucking title does she have right now? I didn't know that. I mean, I don't follow this shit,
She has,
so.
she has like some New Japan belts. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if she like wants to beat this picture.
Oh, well, yeah. Remember when Kenny Omega was like a fucking title chaser, but he only ended up like with 4 or 3. Like it was like
Remember
terrible.
when we thought that was going to go somewhere and it went nowhere.
And it
That was
went
great.
nowhere.
Remember we used to sit after impacts and AEWs being like, oh, it's going to lead to something, and it led to nothing.
Yeah, that's too bad. That was really too bad. Oh, that was wasted potential. But anyway, there's not any wasted potential in this match because it is Rey Mysterio versus Ultimo Dragon. Start off this match, Ultimo Dragon is just way too much for Rey Mysterio. His kicks are just too much. When Rey gets kicked onto the floor, even Sonny Ono gets his licks in. Um, Ultimo Dragon, he does his backbreaker rack, and then when he's doing it, uh, Dusty Rhodes, he's like, man, I wish I am Mike Tenay was here because
He
they
knows
don't
with
know
the
how to
cold
call
stick.
some of these moves. What?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was weird that he wasn't here for these matches. These matches kind of didn't feel as special without him because these guys don't know really how to like sell these matches.
Yeah, this was a weird thing because up until this point, at every cruiserweight match, they have Mike Tenay there join the commentary just for the cruiserweight matches. But for
Mm-hmm.
this one, for some strange reason, Mike Tenay is not there, and they're because of that, they can't really call these moves, and they don't know the history behind these guys, so they're not calling it. Was there a reason why he wasn't there for this?
Well, he's there for the World War III Battle Royal. Maybe they made him attend a meeting on how to call that match really bad. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he had diarrhea or something. I have no idea. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. He is there. He just wasn't for this match. There's a point in this where they're talking. Bobby the Brain Heenan goes when okay, so Dusty mentions Mike Tay goes, oh man, I wish Mike was here. He'll be calling this shit. And then Bobby the Brain Heenan goes, he's hurt. And then Dusty goes, who, Mike? And he goes, no, Rey Mysterio is hurt. And I was like, see, this is like why you don't use pronouns. This is why you don't use pronouns. Even commentators get confused. You say he's hurt, you fucking confuse Dusty Rhodes. It was stupid. It was just like
He's hurt that.
when I heard that, I was thinking, man, as much as I hate Junior, like he said a lot of things that made sense, pronouns, right?
Pronouns, pal. Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, as this match continues, Ultimo Dragon, he power bombs Rey Mysterio. He deadlift fucking what do you call it? Flips Rey into the ropes. That was a cool spot. Dragon does like a swing, like a Cesaro swing, but then after he drops Rey Mysterio, he also falls down because of his own dizziness. The crowd laughed at that. That was a cool spot. These two have great chemistry. They fight on the floor behind the commentary team, and Dusty Rhodes goes, "Hey, who's that guy in that red coat?" I thought that was really funny. It was him, obviously. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ultimo Dragon does like a slingshot splash from the ring to the floor. It was fucking crazy. However, even though Ultimo Dragon has all this control in this match, Rey Mysterio starts firing back with all these moves, like these springboard moves, one after the next. But however, the last springboard move he does off the top rope, Ultimo Dragon catches Rey and then bounces Rey off the top rope into a sit-out powerbomb to win the match. Fantastic opening match. I gave this an A. This is a must-watch match for wrestling fans. Rey Mysterio versus Ultimo Dragon from World War III, 1996.
This is the best match on the show by far. Great
Yeah.
match, go out your way. The only thing that ruins it is Sonny Ono and no Mike Tenay. It is what it is. What I enjoy about this match, and I said this last week, and this is just such a lost art, is that Ultimo Dragon just hits a move and wins. And that's the way it should be because it keeps you on the edge of your seat that any move could be the finish. And I don't know why, AEW, they got money to spare. They can experiment with the formula. Because say what you will about AEW, they do the WWE formula of they got to hit the finish, and no one knows. And if they got to hit multiple finishes before the end. Fucking dude,
That's not
when
just
Samoa
AEW,
Joe,
though. WWF too. It's WWF too.
I know, but
Both.
I'm saying AEW has more chances to experiment with the formula. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to
Yeah.
answer it. Dude, John Moxley, Samoa Joe, have Moxley beat Samoa Joe without hitting his finish. Just have him do like a high end move that he doesn't do, and just have him win. Or if you want to have Samoa, Just do it. Like, because then you teach the audience I have to pay attention. Because
You know what? You know what though? WWF should do that. WWE should do that too. You know, it's just both ways.
But Tony can do whatever he wants, so let him do it.
WWE could do whatever they want too. They could have dog shit and fans will laugh it up. So why not?
Triple H doesn't know a formula besides 14 finishes at the end. Triple H, he wouldn't know how to put a match like that together. His brain would explode. He's an idiot.
You know
Dean
what else
Malenko is at AEW. He could do this.
You know what else I liked about this match was it wasn't just like the move that came out of nowhere. It's the build up to it because Rey Mysterio is doing springboard move after springboard move after springboard move, and Ultimo Dragon is not an idiot. He's realizing this, and the last one, Rey does one too many springboard moves, and it costs him, right? And I like that. Somebody should do this finish where somebody is overpowering another wrestler, and the other wrestler starts doing high flying move after high flying move, making a comeback, and then the last high flying move he does backfires on him, and the guy just fucking I don't know, turns into a power slam and beats him. You know, I just like that. It just it built up, and you're just like, he fucking did one too many of these fucking things. You know, so definitely a must watch. Definitely a must watch.
Definitely check this match out, and yep, that's the highlight of the show. Because we go downhill right away.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here. Mean Gene Okerlund, he plugs the new WCW website. They're going to slowly move away from the whole CompuServe room. They're going to get their own thing going. DDP joins Mean Gene Okerlund for an interview, and they talk about Mean Gene started, hey, the NWO is trying to recruit you, DDP. And he goes, I want answers. You did, the fans deserve answers. Are you with NWO or are you not? And DDP's like, and he goes, Mean Gene's like, I know Eric Bischoff's your next door neighbor. Is this real life? They're next door neighbors?
Yeah, that was real life. They're friends in real life.
So they're playing we're already in that phase where it's like, they're blending a little bit of real life into the storylines. And he goes, I know Eric Bischoff's your next door neighbor, so you guys are probably talking a lot. And DDP's like, it doesn't matter that Eric Bischoff is my next door neighbor. It doesn't matter about this NWO thing. I'm here to just focus on the World War III. I'm going to win the Battle Royal like I did the Battle Bowl. And then he goes, good God. He's still trying to work that little catchphrase in. Good God. I was like, so they're already, the seeds of DDP becoming DDP is now already here.
Yeah. They're building to him because he's the first guy who rejects the NWO shirt in January. So they're building towards that.
I remember when that happened, that was humongous. People don't understand how big that was. That was so big when that happened, It
was it's a great moment, and it set him on the course.
That thing took a mid-carder and made him a main eventer. It's incredible.
And then Savage sealed the deal by letting him win.
Yeah. You know what it should have been? That should have been like a Virgil. Virgil should have had that. Virgil had a moment like this. Virgil, when he turned on Ted DiBiase, had a moment like this.
And they didn't build.
Yeah, he was not even a mid-carder, but by him turning on Ted DiBiase, it could have elevated him to main event status. But it just it wasn't just WWF. Virgil also didn't live. He didn't rise to the occasion himself. But imagine if Virgil did and everything, he could have been a main eventer. But whatever. Match number 2. It is a one-arm tie behind his back match. Basically, referee Nick Patrick versus Chris Jericho, who will have one arm tied behind his back, and he comes out with a very chubby Teddy Long. So, Nick Patrick, he used to be a wrestler, right? He's the son of Jody Hamilton, the assassin who runs the WCW power plant. So he started off as a wrestler, got injured, so he became a referee. Well, in this match, he takes some bumps, and he does take some good bumps. He can still work. He has to powder outside, and he keeps getting outside, and he gets shoved by Teddy Long. It's basically like Nick Patrick getting beat up for a while, and then Chris Jericho, who only has one arm, when he goes after Nick Patrick on the outside, he hurts his free arm on the ring post, and Nick Patrick kind of does a short beatdown on Chris Jericho, but then Chris Jericho super kicks Nick Patrick to win the match. It's short, it's not really good, but Nick Patrick, he can bump, so I gave it a C plus, but it's
I
not really.
hated this match. I hated this. I hated it.
What did you hate about this?
A referee shouldn't be getting any offense on someone that you just signed who's like a good wrestler. He shouldn't be getting any. It should have been a squash. I don't care that he has one arm. Like if the referee could, because this is the message, and ultimately, this is why they fail. If a referee can beat up the cruiserweights, then what chance does this guy have against Scott Hall or the Giant or Hulk Hogan? Like,
WCW had already made up in their minds at this point that the cruiserweights are not going up against.
but don't okay,
It was
but
a
don't have the
mistake. It
referees,
was a mistake. Yeah.
don't have the referees beat them up. That's just so counterproductive. The
agree.
match. If you want Nick Patrick to beat this guy up, make it a tag match. Have him with like six. Have six soften up Jericho, and then have. But Nick Patrick like getting any type of like extended offense on Chris Jericho. Like, because I'm Jericho, I'm like, are you gonna make this guy a wrestler? No, it's gonna be. Why the fuck am I selling for him this long? It's stupid. It's dumb. I hated it.
Yeah. After this match, the commentary team starts talking about, the Piper Hulk Hogan, and Bobby the Brain Heenan goes, Piper is the one person Hulk Hogan's never beaten. They're like, yes, true. That's a very big thing. This is the big deal of the show. We got Marcus Bagwell and Disco Inferno. They're in the back, talking to guys on the WCW chat room, which I thought was kind of interesting. Hey, Disco and Bagwell are still with this company. We're gonna see them later on tonight, anyway. Gene Okerlund, he's with an injured Ric Flair, who cuts a promo about it's the NWO versus the WCW, and he promises the NWO is gonna fall and it's gonna belong. This is WCW, and WCW is gonna succeed. So Ric Flair is still on that WCW rah train.
Which they do nothing against the NWO the whole show, but
yeah, which hurts Ric Flair's credibility. That was stupid.
It sounds and then like the announce like finally somebody said it, and I'm like, nobody said this for 6 months. The NWO's been around for 6 months, and like because it's big rah, and then we'll when we get into the NWO matches, I got a lot to say, but yeah, and the promo was good. And then the show ends, and you're like, that was a waste of time. Don't put up. Don't ever Claire say that shit if the NWO's not even gonna like lose one match.
This is like we saw like the last WCW pay-per-view we reviewed. We saw some cracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of cracks here, and the fact that it's still so hot is saying a couple of things. I think it's saying either how badly WWF was doing for them to still not take over the lead, and how stupid wrestling fans are in general. That they could lap up dog shit.
I would no, because I will tell you that I've seen some nitros around this. They're much better than this pay-per-view.
Okay. All right. The week to week is good. You're saying the week to week is good. Yeah. Okay.
The week to week is good because you don't have to put Hall and Nash like a 20-minute match on Nitro. They could just come out, cut a promo, smack fucking Ric Flair around, and then go home for the night, and you're happy as a viewer. I think that the problem is that I think people back then were aware of these mistakes, but they figure, which is where I was in '98, because that's when I went. They have time to fix this. They have time to turn it around. They're going to recognize that they're doing things wrong or there's cracks, and they'll fix it. Problem is, they never fix anything. They just let the cracks get more and more and more until they're out of business. Dude, less than 5 years from now, they're out of business. 5 years from now, they're out of business. And all they do is no one takes any blame. And when you ask these guys,
even to this day, they don't take any blame. Even to this day, it was the Time Warner Turner executives. Shut the fuck up. It was you. You fucked up.
Like if you just adjusted a few things on this like if you just adjust a few things on every show we've seen since Road Wild, because I think Bash to Beast 96 is perfect. You adjust a few things. Let me tell you something. I found this out. There were people at WWE at this point was in danger of being canceled on USA because they're like the ratings aren't good, and this is kind of a waste of our time, and we can't sell ads. The same reason why. And Bonnie Hammer said, no, give them more time. I think Vince has a plan. And then a year from now, the ratings go up. But and then they start beating Nitro a year and a half later. But so if they just adjusted a few things every show and how they treated all this, I definitely think they could have got Raw. Raw would have been canceled in '97. You know how much that would have changed everything?
Yeah. Yeah. It would be there would not be an AEW right now, actually.
Because like you're willing to accept the flaws in September. You're willing to accept the flaws in October. And I guess if you're living in November '96, you still kind of accept the flaws. But at this point where I am, I'm getting very annoyed and I'm getting very agitated because I'm like, you are already on the path to go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And if I tell you that now, Bischoff would disagree. If Bischoff was here with us right now, he would disagree with me. Same thing if Kevin Sullivan was still alive. Oh no, we look at the numbers we did. Yeah, but you're annoying people. You're annoying people with the stuff you've done, the stuff you do on this show.
Yep.
And you never adjust it.
Speaking of annoying, let's go to match number 3. It is a return grudge match. It is the Giant versus Jeff Jarrett, who comes out to booze. People do not like Jeff Jarrett.
That's the other thing about this. So the NWO on TV is fire, right? Fire.
Yeah.
And they're beating up everybody. Why are these the NWO matches? Why is Jeff Jarrett, the Nasty Boys, and the Faces of Fear, the guys that are fighting the NWO? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's almost like you want people to boo WCW.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Jeff Jarrett tries to attack Giant right away. Giant just shoves Jeff out of the way to a pop from the audience. The commentary team tells us the reason. Because remember, Giant used to be WCW. The reason why he joined NWO was because Hulk Hogan promised him movies and so forth.
Yeah,
and
that's a great segment.
Yeah.
On Nitro, that's good thing.
Yeah, and he is actually getting movie roles, right? Like he was in Waterboy and shit like that,
And he was in Jingle All the Way, which came out that week in '96.
Yeah, so storyline wise, it makes sense. Like, oh, he sold out. The Giants sold out to join, So anyway, Giant beats on Jeff Jarrett for a while, and every time he's beating him up, the fans are just like popping for him, and then all of a sudden the crowd goes crazy, and they're all looking one way, and when we look, there's Sting. He's walking the catwalk up on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of the arena. Everyone's pointing up there, and then Sting walks across the catwalk, and then he walks through the crowd. As this is happening, the match is still going on. Giant goes over the top rope to the floor, and as he's on the floor, Sting comes into the ring. And remember, this is not Surfer Sting anymore. This is
This is the first time we're seeing the Crow Sting on our journey.
Is this what they called it? The Sting that we know now, is it referred to as the Crow Sting, or just called NW? Yeah, Crow Sting. Okay.
No, it's the Crow Sting because Scott Hall said, "Copy the Crow's look." So everybody's admitted.
Yeah. Okay. I know that's where they got it, but I didn't know if it was officially called the Crow Sting. But I guess
I wonder why they never got sued by the creator of the Crow. Maybe he tried and like he couldn't get a good lawyer. Because literally, like they're admitting they ripped. There's so many places they've admitted they just ripped off his idea. And it's a creator-owned idea,
Yeah, it's but the thing is this, I think the Crow Sting is based on the movie Crow character.
The movie studio suing them.
Yeah, but the movie Crow is different looking than the comic book Crow, right?
I know. I'm wondering why doesn't the movie studio sue them?
Maybe it was, yeah, I don't know, because maybe it's because Sting was carrying around a bat and that was different enough.
Maybe they're scared of sticking them in the bat. They're like, oh,
Yeah, maybe. What do you call it? But yeah, this is the same exact idea as basically Crow Sting. Yeah. And when did the Crow come out? When did this fucking movie come out? 1995.
94, the summer of 94.
Oh, the Crow was super popular. Dude, it was like my favorite movie for a long time.
Yeah, I love the Crow.
And this was, you know why? Because the Crow in the movie never wore a trench coat.
Well, the Crow in the movie actually achieves his goal at the end. He like defeats the bad
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. They were gonna sue, and then when Sting never overtook the NWO, they were like, "Oh, it's different. It's a different character." Anyways, the Crow Sting, he comes into the ring, and he does a Scorpion Death Drop on Jeff Jarrett as the referee is acting like he doesn't see. He's checking on the Giant. Then the Giant comes back in the ring and he choke slams Jeff Jarrett to win the match. See, Sting was the best part, the Sting coming out, but that just stupid.
Sting walking that catwalk coming down the stairs. I mean, what? Let me tell you something. What an amazing, like you want. We give Hogan credit. We got to give Sting credit. What an incredible makeover. What an incredible adjustment of the character. Um, I do think that if you want to have Sting attack someone from WCW, that the crowd is not going to turn on Sting about, because I do think if he attacked like Luger or Flair, would have been a different response. Jeff Jarrett is the perfect guy for Sting to attack, because no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
the only good thing about this match was Sting coming out and interfering. That's the only good thing. Otherwise, this match is horrible.
Yeah, yeah. It's a TV match, basically.
It's awful. A waste of the Giant. Waste of the Giant, bro.
Yeah. Well, it just gets worse. Roddy Piper comes out with a contract. And he gets in the ring and he calls out Hulk Hogan. He goes, "Where's Hulk Hogan?" And Eric Bischoff. What? What? Eric Bischoff, who's now in the NWO, Ted DiBiase, and Virgil come out. And Eric Bischoff says, Hogan's not going to come out, but I will sign for Hulk Hogan because I'm in charge of the NWO. Eric Bischoff should have never joined the NWO. He should have never joined.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this. From a storyline standpoint, it makes sense, because now, like, well, how is the NWO getting in the building? Well, the president has been in the NWO the whole time. He's been helping them. So, and now they come into the entrance. So from that part, it makes sense. He does become a really good actor. Here's the problem, Brian. I've listened to Brian Alvarez talk about, he was reviewing the depth of WCW. He said, I've watched Nitro all the way through twice, not once, but twice. And he goes, let me tell you the moment where Nitro gets bad is when Bischoff becomes an on-screen character. And the reason why that's why the company gets bad is because Bischoff is now more invested in being a character than actually putting together the shows. And I do agree with that. I think Bischoff got a little bit full of himself. Let me tell you, he is a good actor. He's a very good actor. But at the same time, it's like, then pick a lane. Then just be a wrestler, be a manager, give someone else.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I respect Brian Alvarez, and I'm. That's cool that he watched the whole Nitros twice over. But you know what? Here's the thing: I didn't watch that, and even I could tell that Eric Bischoff becoming a character was fucking bad.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not rocket science. It was a bad fucking idea. But anyway,
I will say this with Vince. When Vince had a match, he did not run the show. Bruce Pritchard and other people ran the show. They were the producers, and he went back in the truck after his match was done, because you can't run the company and have a match, a pivotal match, whether it's he fought Austin or Undertaker or fucking Hogan. The Hogan one was the big one. He said, "Don't come to me for anything. I have to concentrate on putting on a good show." And that's the thing. You have to have people you can rely on, and he did. And I think that's a big part of why he worked in both roles for so long, until he didn't.
So Eric Bischoff says he's gonna sign for Hulk Hogan. Piper's mad. He shoves Virgil and he gets in his face. He goes, I taught you how to fight. I taught you how to fight, Virgil. Um, fans throw soda and stuff. Like
When
Piper,
WWE was really
yeah,
good.
yeah. He keeps as Piper keeps ranting about stupid things. Then Hulk Hogan comes out with Miss Elizabeth, who is now NWO, and the Giant, and basically all the rest of NWO. They all come out. As he's walking out, somebody throws garbage and hits Hogan right in the face. That was perfect.
That was happening every week, bro. But
Yeah.
Hogan loved it. Hogan loved it.
Yeah.
Now, you know what would happen now if someone threw garbage at, like, let's say, Ricochet's face? He would make like a fucking 4-page tweet. Hey guys, it's not cool to throw things at me. I'm playing a character and I could get hurt. And everyone to it, Sean Ross Sabu, you guys need to be better. And Hogan just lets them hit him, and he's like, whatever. I'm gonna make you want to throw more things at me. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know?
He's making money. He's making money while he's doing it. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
it's so anyways,
So he gets in the ring.
So yeah, he gets in the ring. The whole NWO get in the ring. They're basically surrounding one man, Roddy Piper. He's surrounded by like 10 dudes. He's surrounded by 10 dudes, right? We got like X-Pac in there. We got Hall and Nash, Giant. Like he's surrounded by like legit 10 people. And Hogan starts yelling, I know about the hip, brother. Show him the hip, brother. And then Hogan like shows Roddy Piper's hip scar because Roddy Piper had hip surgery. And he goes, you can't wrestle. And Piper goes like, oh yeah. And then he starts attacking Hulk Hogan. But the NWO is like, there's like 10 people. So they hold Roddy Piper for Hogan to start hitting Piper. And then he gets a chair and he hits Piper on the hip with the chair. And then they spray NWO on Roddy Piper's leg and they spit on Piper. And then they leave and Piper like gets up. What did you think about this segment?
Hogan saved it. I liked Hogan's promo. Um, I like building in the real world thing about the injury because Hogan was saying you couldn't you came out you're out here you're challenging me you couldn't beat me when you're at top of the game and now you're a cripple and since you want the match I don't mind beating on a cripple since you keep begging for it, you know what I mean? And I think Hogan sells the match, sells a lot, sells that Piper's at a disadvantage, and but as the audience you want Piper to come back from that. I think Piper was horrible. Piper, if this was another wrestler, I think this would have been one of the best segments of the NWO. Piper, though, just he refuses to look bad, and you have to look bad for a little bit because when the Starrcade match happens and Piper wins, which he does, it means more. But you need to let the audience really think like, Hogan might be right. This might be a complete squash. Like he beat Savage, he beat the Giant, he chased Sting out, he beat Flair. How is Piper going to do it with one hip? But Piper just doesn't know. It's not in him, and he kind of negates Hogan's work right away.
Yeah.
Hogan is. I think the reason why the Piper Hogan '96 program and '97 makes so much money is because of all the work Hogan does. Because Hogan is just he's not gonna let Piper ruin this.
Yeah, I did not like this segment at all. I just think it's kind of stupid. They're all there. They could just beat the shit out of him. And yeah, you're right. Like Piper refuses to look bad. So there's a point where he's beating up all 10 guys. And it's just so fucking stupid because these guys have to it just looks stupid that he's beating up 10 guys at once. Guys that are bigger than him. We're talking like Hall and Nash, Giant, they're all bigger than him. And
did you read the story about him and Nash in '97?
Yeah, Nash punched him or something for real, right? In the back. Yeah, tell us the story. Tell us the story you heard.
Basically, Piper does something like this where it's like the whole point is Piper has to look weak to sell the pay-per-view, and he doesn't. And Nash goes in the back and goes, "Motherfucker, what are you doing? I'm trying to make you money. I'm trying to make us both money." and Nash just punches him right in the face. And then Nash right away apologizes to Piper, and he goes, "I don't want this to come out." Someone leaks it to Meltzer, and it gets out there. But Nash has said, like, I don't want anyone to. He goes, but literally, like, I'm going back there to talk to Piper, like, bro, you're like my idol. I'm trying to make us money. You're gonna beat me at the next show, but I have to like get people to believe that I can. And Piper he goes, all right, you think this is a shoot? He punches him right in the fucking face, and Piper like immediately back down.
I read a story. Well, I read the shoot interview where Scott Hall talks about like shitting on Piper openly in front of like Eric Bischoff and everybody. Like they were at a bar and he would be like, why can't you fucking you can't lose to Hulk Hogan? Like what is this? You think is this real for you, Piper? Like you can't like lose to Hulk Hogan? Like oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize like you like this was fucking real. Like and he goes and like hearing your story and then knowing the shoot interview that Scott Hall gives, Piper must have been not only is he incredibly annoying to watch, but he is a fucking he must have been a headache to work with in the back. Like he what good is he at this point?
Well,
I mean
I'll say this about losing. I'll say this about losing to Hogan in 84, 85, right? So the WWE house style with Bruno and Bob Backlund was a heel, wrestled the champion for a little bit, got beat, and then they told you to go away. And I think he had burned some bridges, or I think he was when they were doing WrestleMania.
wait, who burned some bridges?
Okay, I'm sorry. When they were building WrestleMania, so back then, promoters, if you lost on a big scale, promoters didn't want to use you because they were still trying to pretend it was fake. So if you lost in a huge match, they're like, well, we're not going to hire you to wrestle Kerry Von Erich because people know that Kerry can beat you that because you lost to Mr. T or whatever. So
Pretending that it was real. Yeah.
yeah, so in Piper's mind, it's like if I lose to Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania and then Vince fires me, they're not going to hire me to wrestle Ric Flair. They're not going to hire me to wrestle Kerry Von Erich. So I got to protect myself because Vince is going to fire me after it. So I kind of get that in 84, 85 because everyone's a lunatic and no one really is understanding what Vince is going to do. In Vince's mind and in my mind, it doesn't matter if you lose to Hulk Hogan every single day. I'm still going to want to watch you fight Hogan in 85, 86. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that he might have to go back to work for lunatics. Don't understand that what's about to happen. But in 96, he shouldn't still have that attitude.
Yeah, because at this point in 1996, there's so many people who do lose to Hulk Hogan and still have an amazing career, like Macho Man, Ric Flair, fucking well, you know, the list goes on. The laundry list goes on. It's like drugs really ruined Roddy Piper. Like really, really ruined him. He just becomes unbearable.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the idea was that they beat up Piper and he just lays there and then they leave. And then Piper gets back up, and I think the NWO guys are like, well, we should probably hit him, but we have a time limit here. And what if he gets back up again?
What Ray is talking about, so in this segment, eventually they all beat up on Roddy Piper and they hit him with the steel chair on his leg. They spray paint his leg, and they're all leaving the ring, and they're sauntering back to the ring, back to the entrance, and this motherfucker Piper gets back up in the ring to stand tall, and you could see the guys in the NWO looking like this motherfucker. Just stay down, like
Yeah,
just
because
stay
they
down.
had to go back to the next segment. Yeah.
Yeah, like just stay down so that like it looks good. Sell this segment, but because Piper's an egomaniac, he stands up, so it makes the beating look like it was nothing. It just kind of
And
like
then have to walk away by looking at him.
yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, you know. Anyways, let's move on. Match number 4. The amazing French Canadians who used to be the Quebecers in WWF, they're now partnered up with Colonel Rob Parker, who's now wearing black gear, like I guess a Quebecer or something. he is no longer a Southern Gentleman, and he's no longer with the Harlem Heat, who is the opponents of the French Canadians with Sherry Martel. The Canadians, they sing the Canadian national anthem before this match to get some heat. Jacques and Jacques Rougeau and Booker T start the match, and Booker T starts getting the heat put on him, which gets no reaction from the fans. There's a referee bump, and the French Canadians, they get the table. This is kind of interesting. They get a table, and then they get another table, and they get the steel steps. They put it in the ring, and they set up this like huge thing where they do a cannonball off the table off the top rope. It looks cool, but they miss, right? Because Booker T like moves out of the way. They miss. Booker T hits the Harlem Hangover on PCO, who's Carl of the French Canadians, to win the match. Afterwards, Sherry, because she won, she gets to beat up on Rob Parker. She tosses him over the top rope, gives him a lariat, gives him a top rope crossbody. The fans like this part. When she covers Rob Parker, he kicks out of the pin, and him and the French Canadians, they all run to the back. Everybody runs to the back, and that's that. See, this is still like not. I can't believe this is a pay-per-view match.
I hated this match. There was no reason to bring in the Quebecers. I
agree.
They stink. It's over, even though PCO is still around. But has he done anything since he shit on TNA?
No, he should have never should have. You know what PCO is? PCO is somebody who still doesn't get wrestling.
Yeah.
Even at his age, he doesn't understand. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you burning bridges at your fucking age? You know? He's stupid.
Yeah, he could have been a WrestleMania fighting Randy Orton. But man, waste of time. I'm so done with Colonel Robert Parker. The other thing about WCW is that some of these guys who are like from the old regime, like the Hulkamania regime, the Vader regime, or whatever you want to call it, that look so hokey now compared to like the NW. Like Hogan is like calling Piper a cripple. Like it's say what you will about Piper. It's more realistic. It's more like real down to like what's real in life.
Yeah, it's not like a crazy character.
It's not a cartoon. And then Robert Parker comes out with this like dress like a French Foreign Legionnaire, like he's in the 40s, and it's just such a. It looks so Jeff Jarrett doing it. It looks so bad compared to what Sting and let's even say Rey Mysterio, even DDP, what all these guys are doing. This looks so bad, and it's like a waste of the whiplash is so jarring. Like this match is just a waste of time. Mm-hmm. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah. By the way, PCO is now working with MLW, so it's going places.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad it worked out for him.
So Mean Gene's in the back. He's about to give an interview with Lex Luger, but before that, he's plugging the hotline and he says, "Folks, another superstar is coming to WCW. Who's it going to be called the hotline? Who was it, by the way? Who was he talking about?"
I mean, I don't know at this point. So many people are coming. Maybe Marty Jannetty. I don't know.
Actually, yeah, maybe. Probably.
They would like sign like somebody from like the indies to like work like house shows, and they would promote on the hotline and be like, "A Reckless Youth is gonna fucking wrestle a dark match." You know what I mean? And they got your $3. I mean, technically, he's right. Somebody came in.
It probably is Marty Jannetty because he's leaving. Yeah. All right. So Lex Luger joins Mean Gene for the interview, and he talks about Sting. And he goes, Sting gave you the bat. What does that mean? And he's like, Sting reeks of the NWO. He's even wearing their colors, black and white. And you know what? But I can't let that distract me. I have to win tonight. Tonight I have to win for WCW. That is true. Sting was wearing black and white, which is the NWO colors. So it totally looks like he's part of NWO,
Well, the whole thing was to make you you were supposed to keep doubting what Sting's true intentions were. I like this promo by Lex. It's a very good promo.
Yeah, I like Lex Luger is very underrated. When you think about like how people wrestlers talk about him now, They're completely wrong. They're completely wrong about Brutus Beefcake, Lex Luger, Mark Merrill. They're wrong about Mark Merrill. He's very talented.
There was
And
someone else you forgot about. Well, I will say when Bruce Beefcake when he was Bruce Beefcake.
yeah.
WCW Bruce
Before
Beefcake.
pre-injury Brutus Beefcake is really over.
Yeah,
They're wrong about Honky Tonk Man.
very.
Um, who are they wrong about the opposite way? They talk about like he was so good when you watch him, like this guy fucking sucks.
Legion of Doom.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, there was somebody who I was like, Triple H, but I feel like Triple H is writing the propaganda at WWF. I don't think anyone sits at home and goes Triple H is the best.
yeah.
Um,
You're right. I think you're right about that.
let's keep moving forward with the show.
Yeah,
Maybe
let's
I'll.
keep moving forward. Let's go to our fifth match, which is a cruiserweight championship match. We got Psychosis versus the champion Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko, he works the ground game for a while, and then Psychosis goes for a top rope dive. He slips off the top and he crashes into the guardrails. I was like, oh geez, um, that could have been dangerous. He's trying to dive onto the floor and he just fucking fell, and I think his head hit the guardrail. I wasn't sure, but it looked like he did. The high point in this match is when Bobby the Brain Heenan calls Psychosis psoriasis. I thought that was really it's really funny calling him psoriasis. So Dean Malenko beats on psoriasis for a while on the floor. Psychosis starts mounting an offense. He does a moonsault off the top rope, Hurricane Rana off the turnbuckles. And then they start doing this thing where they start changing tombstone position. They're trying to get themselves to the tombstone, but they keep flipping each other over until Dean Malenko finally actually hits the tombstone pile driver. And then Dean Malenko does that reverse victory roll move to win the match. C plus. I didn't think it was that good of a cruiserweight match.
No, I had when I saw this on the lineup, I was excited, and it just I just think there's a reason why Rey Mysterio is Rey Mysterio and why Psychosis is Psychosis. I mean,
Yeah,
let's
there's some people like when you look at it on paper, it sounds like it's gonna be good, like Rey Mysterio versus Super Kalo. But when you watch it, you're like, there's just like something missing, you know?
yeah, yeah. I
It,
also think that when Ray and Psychosis both speak Spanish, they can really collaborate. I don't know. I don't know if Dean can speak Spanish or not, but like I didn't feel the collaboration. If you know what I'm saying.
yeah, like it's not like they're doing the moves badly. It's just like the wrestling is not just about the moves. It's about like where you place the moves, right? That stuff is
Mhm.
important too. And there was just like not a good story being told here. So yeah, C plus. Let's go to our next match. It's a triangle tag team match. So basically, it's for the title. So it's for the WCW tag team title. So there's gonna be three teams. So it's not a triple. It's like a triple threat, but they just call it triangle. We got the Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are the champions, versus the Nasty Boys, who come in and they start fighting with the Outsiders right away. And the third team is the Faces of Fear, Mang and Barbarian, who come out with Jimmy Hart. The Faces of Fear, they start beating up on the NWO on the floor, and all six guys are fighting in the ring, and then the NWO leave the ring, and the Nasty Boys have to square off against the Faces of Fear. Um, Everybody in this match is a point where everyone starts beating on Brian Knobs, Faces of Fear, and Outsiders. Everyone takes turns beating on Brian Knobs, and then Jerry Sachs comes in and he goes, "I want you, Kevin Nash." And the commentators know the chair issue. Oh, there was a steel chair incident between these guys. Did you ever hear about this?
Yeah, we talked about this the other day. Yeah, on the house show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where they got hit with a steel chair, and these guys had like a legit fight in the back. So once again, blending of backstage drama into the world of wrestling. Jerry Sags low blows Scott Hall right in front of the referee. Nobody cares. The NWO, the Outsiders, they both get tagged in. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, they both get tagged in, so they have to face each other. The crowd goes crazy for it, but nothing happens. They just Kevin Nash just lays down for the pin because Yeah, duh. If Scott Hall pins Kevin Nash, they still have the titles. So that's stupid. Why would you tag them both in? That's dumb. Um, but before the ref can count to three, the Nasty Boys Faces of Fear, they come in and attack it, and it causes confusion. Basically, Scott Hall at the end hits Brian Knobbs with the megaphone, and then Kevin Nash power bombs Brian Knobbs to win the match. I gave this a C. This is not good at all.
Horrible match.
Horrible.
Here's my main problem with this freaking match. I will give Hall and Nash credit though. I will give Hall and Nash credit. Let's think about this. A year ago, they were wrestling probably 5 nights a week for Vince, rooting their bodies. Now they come out once a week, cut a promo, beat up Ric Flair or Kevin Sullivan, and then they're home the rest of the week with their families. And when they do have a match, they're standing on the apron. Half of this match is Hall and Nash. Hall and Nash. All of WCW wants to get rid of the NWO, right? We got to get rid of the NWO. The NWO on every Nitro is just beating the shit out of everyone who works for WCW. And now you have these two guys in the ring, Hall and Nash, right? You're the Faces of Fear and you're the Nasty Boys. And the Nasty Boys used to be friends with Jimmy Hart. Because if we're going to recall WWF history, why the fuck? Hey, guys, let's work together. Let's all four of us, because we're going to have this problem later on too. All four of us fucking destroy the Outsiders. And then we'll have a match. Who cares who pins who? At least the tag belts will be back in WCW. Let's destroy. Instead, these two guys are standing there for 90% of the match, just standing there, like they're waiting for a bus, while the Nasty Boys and the Faces of Fear murder each other. Just murder. Like, why would you? What the fuck is wrong with you, fucking idiots?
Yeah, they should have just did a 4-on-2. They just beat up the NWO Outsiders. That is, instead of they're just standing on the apron. It's dumb. This, you know what it is? Storyline wise, this makes no sense.
No. And then it's a boring match too. It's a boring match.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. By the way, it's not even gonna be the worst thing on the show.
Not at all.
Anyway, yeah. Bobby the Brain Heat. So now we're gonna get we get all these commentators. We're gonna have it's time for the main event.
I can't believe this again.
Yeah. So basically it's a 60-man battle royal. This is World War III. So there's 3 rings, 20 men in each ring. So of course we're gonna need 3 commentary teams, right? And Tony Schiavone starts asking everybody, hey, who is your pick to win this battle royal? World War III battle royal. Bobby the Brain Heenan, he picks Dean Malenko to win. Ring 3 is going to have Lee Marshall and Larry Zbyszko, and they're recapping the issues between Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan. Ring 1 will have the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Mike Tenay. And Dusty Rhodes, he picks Conan, Lex Luger, and the Dungeon of Doom. He thinks those 3 people have the highest chances of winning this Rumble. Ring 2 will have Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan. By the way, Lee Marshall, he picked Kevin Nash to win. Larry Zbyszko picked Lex Luger to win. Like I mentioned, Dream picked Lex Luger or Conan. And Mike Tenay picks Lex Luger. Tony Schiavone picked the Giant because he's the biggest person. So a lot of people are picking Lex Luger to win this, okay? We're going to go to the main event, 60-man battle royal. Here are some of the participants in the match. I'm just going to go over a whole. You want me to go over everybody who's in here or no?
No.
Okay.
We don't need
I won't lie to you. Some of these people, I had no idea who they were. As they were coming out, I didn't know who they were. So many of them, I was like, I did not know who they were.
Let's go over the name. Absolutely. You know what? You have the list of the 60 names in front of you somewhere?
I don't have all 60 names, but I have like, okay, obviously Lex Luger, Eddie Guerrero, DDP, those people we know. But High Voltage, I wasn't aware of this tag team High Voltage. Were you aware of them? High Voltage?
They're a WCW Saturday Night staple. They are they're like the Spanish Announce Project of WCW. You never see them on the radio.
So we get to also see a lot of people that we don't see regularly, like Hugh Morris is there. What do you call it? Disco Inferno is going to be in this. La Parca is gonna be in this. A lot of the what do you call it? A lot of the luchadors like Cico Play is in this.
Start seeing them.
Um, here's some more people that we normally never see on a pay-per-view back. Okay, number one, we got Joe Gomez. He's back. Remember Joe Gomez, the beautiful hair?
Should have won it
Oh,
all. My book.
yeah. And the guy I thought who was gone, he's back. Bunkhouse Buck is in this battle royal. Here's
God.
something. Here's something interesting. Johnny Grunge is in this, but not Rocco Rock from Public Enemy. Only Johnny Grunge is in this. Is there a reason why Rocco Rock was not here? Is he injured?
I have no idea. Maybe he just was. Maybe he just made up an excuse. He realized how dumb this was going to be. He's like, you know what? My wife's sick. I get it.
Oh, okay. Here's another
Bunkhouse
person.
Buck, my wife's sick.
Yeah, give Bunkhouse Buck my spot. So we got like William Regal, Bobby and Dave Taylor, Alex Wright. These people have not been on a pay-per-view in a long time. They're all back. What do you call it? Prince Iakea. This is the first time I'm seeing Prince Iakea, one of the cruiserweights, right?
To push in '97.
Yeah. Mr. JL, who is Jerry Lynn under a mask. He's also in this.
He's back. He hasn't been on a pay-per-view since what? Since
Time.
House of Havoc '95.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, he's back. Rick Steiner's in this, but no Scott Steiner, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a person that I'm not really aware of, really, of anything. Roadblock. Do you know anything about Roadblock?
He was a Saturday Night Special too. He was just a big fat guy that was WCW Center.
Okay, all right. So Kevin Sullivan is in this, and also comes out is Chris Benoit, who's bruised up in the face. And basically, this pay-per-view, this match begins with Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit fighting on the floor, not even in the ring. And Ray, I'm just gonna be talking about what happens, and you can interject yourself at any time. Okay?
I'm going to say something to you. I am
Sure.
very surprised you got this after Dungeon of Doom and Four Horsemen take each other out, which I thought was great. I thought that was a good start. This becomes unwatchable. Like it literally becomes unwatchable because so they go to you. So there's 3 screens. There's 2 on the top and there's 1 on the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did the same mistake last year. They go to you ring 1, ring 2, ring 3, right? So you assume that it's one. So let me go. That it's 1, the top one on your left, 2, the top one on your right.
Ring 2, is 1 screen,
and then ring 3 is the bottom one.
Yeah.
No, because at one point, Bobby Heenan references something that's going on in ring 2, screen 2, and that's the bottom screen. Half the time, they change the rings around that they're filming, and it just becomes an unwatchable mess. And then there's the NWO is all in 1 ring. Now, again, here, so the NWO is like what? 4 guys? Yeah, it's 4 guys in this match. So you have 56 men who work for the company that these 4 guys have vowed to destroy, and they attack you. And what do? What you would think, hey, there's 54 of us. Let's cripple these men. There's going to be no more NWO. We got them right where we want them. They just fight around the NWO. The NWO spends most of the match just watching the match. They literally are sitting 2 inches away from Rey Mysterio, from William Regal, from all these fucking people that they've tortured. They threw Rey Mysterio into a fucking truck. And what does Rey Mysterio do? He's going to ring with them. He just beats up the other guys. It's unwatchable. It really, somehow, it's worse than the year before. And you know why I think it's worse than the year before? Because you can excuse year 1 like, hey, that's kind of sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it's the first time you're doing it, and you have a lot of kinks to work out. By year 2, you should have no excuse. You
didn't learn anything.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We talked about the 3 screens that you're going to see. Each screen is supposed to represent 1 ring, and they're supposed to be different rings. There are times where they show you the same ring on 2 of those screens, just different angles of it. So it's not even ring 1, 2, and 3. It's like sometimes it's like all like 2 of those screens are sharing the same ring. It's stupid.
And here's the other thing. Why not have at the bottom of each screen a number? So In other words, like 1, 2, 3. And if you switch to another ring, now you have the number at the bottom, like a cryon, like WWF
Yeah.
has the logo. Just have the
Hmm.
number. So when Bobby Heenan goes ring one, you look right at ring one. Anyway,
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into actually what happened. So, as mentioned, Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan during their feud, they start fighting on the floor, but because they're both in stables, the Dungeon of Doom, who's Kevin Sullivan's name, they all jump in and they start attacking Chris Benoit, and then like the Horsemen, like Mongo and Arn Anderson, they start getting involved. Mongo gets beat on by the Dungeon of Doom, and what do you call it? Tony Schiavone tells us. By the way, when this is happening, the actual battle royal begins. The bell rings for the battle royal, but because the Dungeon of Doom and Horsemen are on the floor, Tony Schiavone tells us all of them have been eliminated. Kevin Sullivan, Chris Benoit, Mongo, they're all eliminated. NWO is in one ring. They're just standing in the corner of one ring, as Ray mentioned. What also makes this unbearable sometimes is not just the camera shots, but sometimes the commentary team just talks over each other. There's 6 guys. They can't help it. There's 6 people. Sometimes they're gonna talk over each other. It's so annoying. By the way, something funny happened when the Dungeon of Doom and the Horsemen are fighting. The Faces of Fear, they beat up Lee Marshall, one of the commentators. For
yes,
I don't know
he falls
why,
down.
but why did they do that?
I think it was by accident. I think it was by accident because they don't show it
Oh,
on this. This is the other
okay.
thing. A lot of times they say something happened and you don't like. Not only did you miss it because you were probably watching the wrong screen, it just wasn't filmed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get into that. One of the first eliminations, actual eliminations we get is Tony Rumble. Tony Rumble's we don't see it, but we're just told Tony Rumble's eliminated. We see him actually on the floor, not in the ring. I was like, who is this guy? Who is this Tony Rumble? I was like, man, I don't know so many of these guys. Did you know? Do you know Tony Rumble?
No, who's Tony Rumble?
Okay, this was his only WCW match. This was his only I looked it up. This is his only WCW match. I'm like, who is this guy? Why is he here? He is
Here's
from
the other problem. Here's the other problem with this match. They don't have 60 guys, so they call in guys. And rather than do something like, can you imagine if like Tully Blatcher came out with the Four Horsemen? Or Terry Funk came out,
Mhm.
rather than call people that would be fun surprises, they just bring in random people so they can get up to the number 60.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And it doesn't even matter because they eliminated like the Dungeon of Doom and Horseman right away. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But they do like when I'm mentioning Tony Rumble is because the commentators do tell us Tony Rumble has been eliminated. So I looked this guy up. He is from a company called Century Wrestling Alliance, CWA. If you've never heard this company, it was created by Tony Rumble. And so this guy's just like an indie wrestler who created his own company. I guess like
Maybe he
maybe
was giving guys reps.
yeah, maybe. And they said, can you throw him in the Rumble? Tony Rumble, he would pass away in November 13th of 1999 of a heart attack. So he passed away very early. But yeah, this is his only
The fact that he lost World War IV. So.
dude. When he was coming out, and I see him come out, I didn't know who he was. I was like, I don't know who this guy is. I can't even like when you see a wrestler, you could tell who it is right away, even though there's no name graphic or anything. I didn't know who this guy was, and just to find out like he's like a nobody, and this is his only WCW match, it just pissed me off. Because it made me feel like I'm not, dude. How do I not know this? But I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why I don't know this shit. So Seco Play is the next one eliminated. He's eliminated out of Ring 2. They tell us this. We don't see it. Dusty Rhodes, he starts talking about Big John Studd, who passed away in 1995. So I don't know how he's in this fucking match. Oh, and Big John Studd is there.
He's not John Studd's son. He's just some fucking guy.
Yeah, he just makes it wrong. Mike Enos, he gets eliminated. Mike Enos is one of the Beverly brothers, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah. So he was in here too. We don't see the elimination. La Parka gets eliminated by Lex Luger, and then there is a guy in there named Jimmy Graffiti, and Jimmy Graffiti is Jimmy Del Rey of the Heavenly Bodies in a new gimmick.
Thank God they brought him in.
Yeah, they basically shaved his they made him get rid of his mustache. They made him cut his hair short, so no facial hair, short hair, and now he's wearing like a gear like he's a graffiti artist. And he does this like Z thing, like he's spraying graffiti, and that's his new name, Jimmy Graffiti. It's so bad. I was like, oh my god, they ruined Jimmy Del Rey. They took away everything special about this guy.
Or
Scott
Jimmy.
Norton gets Scott Norton gets eliminated, and then Pez Watley is eliminated by Sergeant Craig Pittman. Do you know who Pez Watley is?
Yeah, he's an older guy. He's a black guy, right?
I think so, because we're not seeing any of these eliminations. I'm just being told this shit. Like, we are not, by the way, these eliminations I'm telling you guys, we are not seeing a single one of them. We're just being told by the commentators, oh, look, it's like Copley was eliminated in ring number 2. We're just being told this shit. I don't know. I guess Pez Watley's a black guy. I have to look him up. Jimmy Graffiti, Renegade. Remember the Renegade? Renegade was in this Rumble.
Oh yeah. Yes. Renegade is still in the company. Yeah, he's there until '98.
Yeah. So Renegade's in this Rumble. Galaxy, a luchador named Galaxy, who will go on to become famous as Damian 666. Jimmy Graffiti, Renegade, and Galaxy, they all eliminate each other. We don't see the elimination, but we know they were eliminated because commentators tell us, and we see them walking towards the back. Okay. The first actual elimination that I saw was Mark Starr being eliminated by Jim Duggan. I don't even know who Mark Starr is, but he got eliminated by Jim Duggan. That's the first one that I'm actually seeing.
Okay, Mark Starr. Oh well, that was the one you got to get on camera, dude. Like I'm saying, like you just said the first elimination that I've seen, and you listed like 20 names, and this is like they have 3 cameras on this, and this is a $30 pay-per-view, and this is when they were hot.
And we're missing all this. Yeah. Oh, it's bad. So from this point, now we actually will start seeing the actual elimination. Like you can actually see it when you watch this pay-per-view. Prince Iaukea is eliminated by Buddy Lee. Remember Buddy Lee?
Yes, Buddy Lee Parker, who he makes it to the end of WCW.
Exactly. All of a sudden, he's in this Rumble. He eliminates Prince Iaukea. As Lex Luger eliminates Chaos from High Voltage. I don't remember High Voltage at all, but Chaos is gone. It is at this point that Dusty Rhodes realizes that it's not Big John Studd, but it's a wrestler named Ron Studd. And he's like, I meant Ron Studd, not Big John Studd. Yeah, I was like, yeah. The Giant takes out Joe Gomez, and then the Giant takes out Roadblock. Now, Roadblock, I don't really know anything about, but he's just like a big fat guy. And
big fat guy. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, big fat guy. So when the Giant eliminates the big fat guy, the crowd pops to that. They're like, "Holy shit, he eliminated Roadblock. That was pretty cool." And lots of other people are getting eliminated, like Mr. JL, but you can't see it on camera, so I'm not even going to mention those anymore. In ring 1, everyone starts taking turns clotheslining Big Ron Studd, and then they like they're doing that running clothesline in the corner. Everyone's doing that to Ron Studd, and then Ron Studd he falls down, and then everybody dog piles him, and it's stupid because there's no elimination if you dog pile him. There's no cover. It was stupid. I don't know why they all decided to dog pile him. That was dumb. Jim Duggan gets eliminated with the French Canadians, and they keep fighting on the floor. I'm assuming that's going to be some kind of feud. The French Canadians versus Jim Duggan.
No, they go away right away, so at least nothing. So
okay. That's stupid then. Now, here comes a part that I was also really stupid, okay? So William Regal, he's on the floor. He's not eliminated. He just can go on the floor sometimes, right? And Eddie Guerrero is in the ring, and he does a fucking plancha over the top rope to William Regal. That's an elimination. He eliminated himself, right? It's not. They do it blatantly in front of the referee, and on camera, you see Eddie Guerrero plancha himself over the top rope to William Regal on the floor, and he will not be eliminated. He'll still be in this fucking match. So that's stupid right there. It's dumb.
Yeah, because Savage got eliminated from the Rumble when he did that. So
yeah, exactly. It's almost like it's the same thing, but in this case, it's not elimination. It's dumb. Marcus
you know what?
Bagwell.
The only thing I could think of is they need him for the end, and they're like, "Fuck it, he's not eliminated. Just get back in the ring. Let's pretend that didn't happen." I mean, what? I mean, at this point, what do these rules matter? This stupid match.
Yeah. So Alexander Bagwell and Scotty Riggs, they're both eliminated, and they start arguing with each other outside the ring. So they're a tag team. I'm guessing this is the beginnings of them breaking up as a tag team, right?
Yeah, because what's his name?
Bagwell.
Bagwell joins the NWO very soon.
Very soon, Bagwell will be changing to Buff Bagwell. I can't wait because he's doing nothing so far as Mark
You know what? That's when Buff becomes the stuff daddy. So
yeah, yeah. And Buff Bagwell was over. There was a time where he was super, super popular. Yeah.
I think sometimes they complain too many of these WCW guys join the NWO. I think Buff Bagwell was someone who belonged. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I agree. He was one of the few that did belong, and it helped elevate him 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex Wright, he takes out Bobby Eaton, and then he takes out Dave Taylor. So he's doing some eliminations. Alex Wright's gonna have a good showing here in this match.
Really? I barely saw him on the screen, so I was looking at it.
Oh, he takes out a lot of people. He took out two. He's gonna.
This is how bad this match is. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I had to pause and rewind so many times. I had to like.
Dude, you're a fucking incredible person because it's so hard to pay attention to because they're talking over each other. This is just how did they do this 2 years in a row and make it worse? How?
These commentators get so mixed up in this. There's a point where Lee Marshall goes, Scott Steiner has been eliminated. He's not even in this match, but Lee Marshall says Scott Steiner was eliminated. He doesn't even know what's going on.
This match, like they were destined to go out of business when you watch this match. It doesn't matter how good Nitro is, doesn't matter how good the opening match is, doesn't matter how good Hogan's promos are. The fact that they think that this is okay to put on TV, the fact that they put no fucking effort in preparing for this match, they were destined to go under. Vince was always going to win.
Uh-huh. So Michael Wall Street, who's the former IRS, he gets eliminated by DDP. There's a cool spot where Juventud Guerrero is sitting on the top turnbuckle and Jericho drop kicks him, and then Juventud falls out and he's eliminated. That's one of the cool eliminations you'll actually see.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Dude, so bad I didn't see any of this.
At this point, enough people were eliminated. So when that happens, you kind of consolidate. So everybody joins two rings, right? Eddie Guerrero included. At this point, Buddy Lee, who I didn't realize is his name in this match is Jack Boot. He's not Buddy Lee, he's Jack Boot. He gets eliminated by the NWO, Scott Hall and the Giant. Grunge gets eliminated by DDP. Jeff Jarrett takes out Dean Malenko, and then he also takes out Sergeant Craig Pittman, who's also in this match. Yes. Kevin Nash, he eliminates Booker T, and then he eliminates Disco Inferno. Alex Wright, he eliminates Bunkhouse Buck. And then Eddie Guerrero, who's already been eliminated, he eliminates Stevie Ray of Harlem Heat. So now Harlem Heat is completely out. Mm-hmm. Lex Luger eliminates Big Ron Studd, which is just huge because he's a really tall. He's like one of the biggest guys in this match. The Giant eliminates Rick Steiner, and then Rey Mysterio eliminates Ultimo Dragon, and then Lex Luger eliminates Alex Wright. So good showing by Alex Wright. He had to do 3 eliminations himself before he's taken out. William Regal eliminates Jericho, and that's now at this point, there's enough people eliminated, so now everybody reconsolidates into one ring. Okay?
Okay.
The NWO...
This, I will say this. This is when the match kind of gets good.
Yes, this is when the match actually starts.
Much better than the year before.
Something. The NWO, they eliminate Ice Train, and then after this elimination, we get a showdown of WCW versus NWO. We got Lex Luger, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, William Regal, and Jeff Jarrett facing off against the Giant, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and X-Pac. Okay? And there is Diamond Dallas Page kind of sitting in the corner, kind of in this imaginary middle line between both sides. Do you notice that? Right?
Oh, yeah, I
Because
noticed that. Yeah.
because DDP is he NWO or is he WCW? He's kind of like in the corner, just like not really in an actual picking a side. Jeff Jarrett has picked a side, and he is WCW, so he attacks Scott Hall first. William Regal, even though he's Team WCW, he does not give a fuck. He wants to eliminate everybody, and he back body drops Eddie Guerrero finally out of this match. The Giant does this cool thing where he gorilla presses Rey Mysterio with one arm, and then he
Mhm.
just fucking throws him out to Eddie Guerrero. So Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio are out. Kevin Nash takes out Jeff Jarrett, and what do you call it? DDP charges at William Regal, and William Regal ducks, and DDP gets he goes over and he's eliminated. That's right. So DDP is out. And William Regal's got a really strong showing. Like he's like one of the last few guys here, but the NWO, they're too much. There's four of them. They double team William Regal and they eliminate William Regal. So NWO, we're talking the Giant, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Six, who is X-Pac, 1, 2, 3 Kid. They're alone in there with just Lex Luger. There's 5 people left. It's a cool visual, right?
Mhm.
By the way, were you surprised at how long like Regal was like the last guy instead of like Eddie
I was surprised Regal was like one of the last guys. The only thing I could think of is that he was there to direct traffic. And what I mean by that is he would walk over and like give you your spot. I
You're
wouldn't be
probably
surprised if
right.
Ring had a manager, like a time manager, be like, throw him out, like just walk around. Like, so I wouldn't be surprised if Regal was that. And then, but you know what? For all of my criticisms of this match, the crowd is on fire when it comes down to Lex the NWO. The
Yes.
crowd wants Lex, and I thought to myself, we. Let me tell you something about Lex Luger. You want to people you shit on Lex Luger, you are wrong, because we have been in this situation where the crowd is on fire for this guy in '87, in '88, in '89, in '91, in '90, in '93, in '95, and now in 10 years. Once a year, the crowd is desperate for this guy to win, and they never fucking do it, including here. It's like
Yeah,
that is
including
impressive.
including all the way to 1996. But before we get there, let's talk about how it happens. So,
Okay.
NWO, 4 guys facing off against Lex Luger. And you know what? Lex Luger is here to fight. He starts fighting them, and he almost puts the Giant in his torture rack, but the NWO, they double team him. And it doesn't look good for Lex Luger. However, Nash gets body dropped out of the ring to a huge pop. The crowd is like, holy shit, one of them was eliminated. And then Six, the 1, 2, 3 Kid, he gets gorilla pressed out. So now it went from 4-1 against 2-1. It's like, oh my gosh, now there's a chance. And Lex Luger, I'm sorry, I think it was Scott Hall was eliminated first. So yeah, Lex Luger has Kevin Nash in the rack, and it looks like he's about to rack Kevin Nash, but then the Giant shoves Lex Luger, who drops Kevin Nash out of the ring. So now it's 1-on-1, but then the Giant just takes Lex Luger out. And that was it. That's how it ended. The Giant wins the fucking match.
Crowd,
Anticlimactic. It's very
the crowd
anticlimactic.
dies.
Yeah, we don't even get a good video shot. We don't even get a good view of like Lex Luger getting eliminated. The crowd starts booing. It's a terrible ending. I gave this an F. This is an F match. This is one of the worst. This is worse than Bunkhouse Stampede. Absolutely worse. This is worse than this is worse than Abdullah the Butcher versus Carlos Carlone from the first Starcade, in my opinion.
I agree. And what makes it worse, and you know, here's the thing. I'll say this about Carlos Colon, and they were never on a platform that big.
Yes.
Did what they did, but it's not like they come back a year later and do it somehow even worse. All right, that's the thing. You can shit on the Buckhouse Stampede. You can shit on fucking Jackie Gata versus I don't know, Molly Holly. He's shit on a lot of bad matches. But
Yeah.
it's not they don't keep repeating it. They like
Mm-hmm.
go to the back and they're like, that was really bad. And they try to learn from it. Here, they had a year to sit down and be
Mm-hmm.
like, that was really horrible what we did. It was
That was really,
unwatchable.
that was
What can
really,
we do? And they don't do that. They just make it worse. They just make it worse.
this is terrible. This is legit one of the worst. I think at this point, this is the worst match I think I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because it's like, man, like you didn't have one meeting about how to fix this? Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
It's arrogance. It's arrogance. That's the thing with so much with WCW, and I've said this before, and it's that old promoter, fuck them, they're a bunch of marks mentality. The arrogance is we got their money. It doesn't matter what type of show we put on because they're so fucking stupid. They'll buy the next month. And I think that's the arrogance with not having a meeting on how to improve this match. If you're going to do it a year next year, and the other thing too is it just still reeks of desperation of trying to be better than WWF. Because the only reason, and Eric Bischoff has said this, the only reason they agreed to this was to be like, WWF has 30 people a year, we're going to have 60. It's the only reason they did this fucking match. And it's just pathetic and it's desperate. And you didn't need to be this desperate back then. You could have just had a regular card. You could have done Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man 2 in a steel cage or something. You could have had Hulk Hogan versus fucking Chris. I don't know. You could have done a lot of things. Okay, you didn't. You did this.
You know what? And if you're gonna do this, you should have had Lex Luger win.
Yes.
You
Yes.
shouldn't have had the NWO win because now it's just like, okay, so the Giant is gonna face Hulk Hogan, which first off, it wasn't that long ago since we've seen that. We already seen that match happen.
Even if he turns
Like,
fake, who cares?
yeah, like what is the point of all this? It's so it's so bad. This is legit the worst match I've seen. This is one of those few. This is the 1 month where WWF has a better show than WCW. So I'm guessing it's the count is what 2-5.
5-2. We got to put the winner ahead. 5-2.
5-2 WCW. Okay, so all
Yeah,
right, there you
WCW. But yeah, yeah, man. It's just, and I can't believe they do this 2 more years. And
go. Oh my God.
I'm wondering what happened. They have to have learned. I mean, they do. I mean, they do. I mean, 98. I heard Bishop talk about the 98 World War III, and he was like, I didn't want to keep doing this. And we just had nothing else to put on, so we did it again. But they get rid of it in '99. They get rid of it in '99, and they go to what is a really good show title, and I enjoy. I've seen both these shows, and even though Russo books the '99 one, I think it's much better than this Mayhem. I think that's a great title for a pay per view. WCW Mayhem. Those
Yeah,
two are pretty good. Even though 2000's like right towards the end, but those are good pay per views. So I'm excited for those when we get to them. Even though WCW, but just wait, let me tell you something. People shit on WCW 2000. At least it didn't have a World War III battle royal. That puts it above a lot of years because, man, if they tried to do that in 2000, I don't know. They would have had to like literally pull people off the street to be in the match. So they had nobody left on the roster. But at least it has a better. Anyway, I don't know. We've shit in this enough. You ready to go over the next 4 weeks, Oos?
yes, please.
Let me tell you something. People want to call Tony Khan a crackhead. Everyone was you got to be a crackhead to book this match. The one we just saw. Anyway, let's focus. Next week, it's In Your House. It's Time with Sid versus Bret Hart. Then in 2 weeks, it's Starrcade '96 with Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks, it's the Royal Rumble '97 with Sid versus Shawn Michaels, the rematch, baby. And then in 4 weeks, it's NWO sold out. The only pay-per-view that was completely run by the NWO with Eric Bischoff and Ted DiBiase on commentary with the main event of the Giant versus Hollywood Hogan. What are you looking forward to?
Royal Rumble. How about you?
Royal Rumble and Starrcade. I've heard that Starrcade show is very, very good.
Okay.
In Your House, right. I did watch It's Time. It's not good. It's Time is not good. I've heard sold out, and I've heard this from Eric Bischoff. mouth and Kevin Nash. Sold Out is not a good show. Everyone regrets doing it. So
I'm not looking forward to it.
I know, and that main event is just like, who cares? So, all right, that's it, guys. Hey, give us a subscribe to us, dude. Like 97 is going to be a hell of a year because we're going to get into ECW. We got the Montreal Screwjob. We got the rise of Austin. We've got the rise of Crow Sting. There's so much to talk about every single week. You want to listen. You want to subscribe. This is when wrestling didn't just get good, but it got like almost so good it's never recovered. And this is the year it does. So you want to listen to us, right, Andrew?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're done with that 94 bullshit with Vince McMahon scream out the new generation. Fucking bunkhouse fuck everybody.
Yeah, pretty soon we're just gonna get real busy real soon.
We're gonna get really good stuff. So we'll see you next week for In Your House. It's time. And thanks for everything, guys. We'll see you then.